Hello and welcome to Vibrant Living Diaries, the podcast where we unlock the secrets of how you can renew your inner vitality and relearn what it means to live a life with energy and purpose. I'm your host, Danielle Grobman, and I'm proudly collaborating with the International Wellness Alliance. This alliance is home to experts across the world whose specialties allow us to cover the entire spectrum of health and wellness. Just as a disclaimer, the stances our guests take on this podcast and the topics we cover are not representative of our individual perspectives. We are here to gain a holistic understanding of all points of view. All information and advice we give here are purely for entertainment purposes. If you're planning on making any lifestyle and/or health changes based on what we cover here, please consult with your main medical wellness practitioner to find the best next steps for you to take on your wellness journey. Today we welcome Manjunath, a Reiki master who's been practicing and learning the art of energy flow for over 20 years. Today Manjunath joins us to talk about his backstory when it comes to Reiki and all the different ways we can apply it in our day-to-day lives. We are very excited to have him on with us today. So without further ado, welcome Manjunath. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Danny. It's my pleasure to be here.
So I think the way that I would want to kickstart this, can you share a little bit about your journey with Reiki and how you integrate it basically into your day-to-day life?
I was attuned to Reiki at the age of 18, and I wasn't new to Reiki when I got attuned. But the problem was that I did not know what to do with it. The first few months were really nice. I felt good about having the knowledge of something new. I did practice Reiki for a few months, and then the thirst did not end there. I got more thirsty, more curious about how to use it, what to do with it, what more can I learn from it, and things like that. I did not know where to look, what whom to contact, or what to do with it, and I kind of let it fade in the background. Cut to about 18, 20 years later, I realized that Reiki was something for me, and I needed to get back to Reiki, practicing it and learning more out of it. So that thirst was so strong at that point in time that I eventually landed up with talking to another Reiki master. And that's when I got attuned once again. And then the multiple different levels of Reiki. I learned it, I got attuned, I just started practicing and things like that. That's been my journey from a Reiki perspective. As a profession, I'm a qualified software engineer, and I run a software company in India. It was only when I started my organization that my quench or the thirst for Reiki started becoming stronger. Now, I did not know the reason for this at that point in time. But over the years, I realized how important energy is, how important the vibrations are, and how important it is to have that energy in every single piece of work that I do. So that is how I link the outcome of the work that I do within my organization to the energy and to the Reiki and things like that.
It's really interesting to hear about how you have this connection to Reiki and your profession isn't necessarily health and wellness related. It's software. Like when most people think of software, they think of coding, they think of deeply analytical, and then when they think of
Yeah,
Reiki, they think of something on the complete other end of the spectrum. How do you
yeah,
find that these kind of work very well together? Because for me at least, I would think, well, if they're on two separate sides of the extreme, then they can't work
yeah,
together at all. But you
yeah.
found that it does actually help you.
Yeah, it does. And my reasoning for that, and I didn't really think of it until you asked, really, but my reasoning for that is um, anything that we do, and not just me, as humans that we do, even a thought that we have is energy. It's some vibration that goes out into the universe, and that's energy. On the other hand, the software as such, right? Now, software development is an art as much as it is a science. Creativity is a major part of the art. So when I need to create something, I need to put in the right energy to get a fruitful or a beneficial outcome. It's just like cooking. Now, if you can think of cooking as if the same dish is being prepared by multiple people with the same ingredients procured from the same source, you still might feel the difference in the outcome, the taste of what they have done. That's because of the energy that they put in. All the energy is the same thing. It's all about how we channelize that universal energy through us into the work product that we build. Now, be it software, be it cooking or anything else, it's pretty much the same thing in my humble opinion.
I like it. I like the way you talk about it. Just
Thank you.
for viewers that may be a bit new to the whole concept of Reiki, of all
Mhm.
of these kinds of concepts that we're going to be talking about, could you explain a little bit about what the process actually is, what Reiki itself actually entails?
Reiki is universal energy. And when I say one gets attuned to Reiki, it would mean that now you are a channel through which the universal energy flows through you, and you can then use that universal energy to heal something. Now, when I say heal something, it could be healing yourself, or healing a situation, or healing a situation to get a desired outcome. Now, I can give an example. Let's say I've got a pain in my shoulder. Well, there are medicines available to kind of help you cure it, but using Reiki, you will channelize the universal energy through you, concentrate that energy through that part of your body that is painful, in order to heal it. That's how it works. The pain would basically indicate that there's some sort of a dis-ease in that part of the body. Energy is perhaps not passing through it, there's some sort of a block, and there could be multiple reasons why there is a block. And that's when you kind of channelize, or you pass your universal energy or Reiki energy through yourself to that part of the body to heal it. Now, it could be yourself, it could be another person sitting in front of you, or it could be a person sitting across the globe. It doesn't really matter. If I could indulge us in another example, let's say you need to go to the airport and you're running late. Reiki can help you ensure that you are on that flight, right? It's all about healing a situation in such a way that the energy enables you to achieve the goal, or achieve your intention, or achieve the outcome that you are looking for, right? That's how Reiki works.
So, for someone that may be new to the concept of this, how
Mhm.
can they either go in for a session or tap into this themselves if they've never experienced, let's say, a flow of energy? Because the way that you talk about it, it's something that you have to be open to. So maybe if someone is new to this and they feel like they're maybe not fully quote unquote open, how can they
Mhm.
start to open up those passageways so that when they hear, okay, I can use this energy source to heal my pain, to better my
Mhm.
situation, they can
Mhm.
actually tap into that and fully feel it. And it's not just a delusion or a
Mhm.
self, affirmation that they're just telling themselves that they never actually see come to fruition.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I have dealt with that quite a few times, especially for people who are absolutely new to it. And I totally understand. Yeah, one needs to have an open mind. There's no doubt about it. For any sort of healing, whether it is Reiki or any other alternate healing that we're talking about, we got to have an open mind. We got to have open mind to understand, what it entails and how it works. Since it's new to some, for us when we start off, being open to what it entails and being open to accepting what has been told to you is very important. I found that very important when I started. And I also have a firm belief that it is not for everybody, right? When I say it's not for everybody, you could be the recipient of being healed, but would it would it make sense for everybody to be attuned to Reiki to heal themselves? Maybe not. Now, there are multiple reasons, especially your belief systems, your own being open to such kind of healing or such kind of techniques to heal. Being open to them is very, very important. That's the first step. The second step, obviously, is to look for the right Reiki master who can help you in getting that healing energy. And the next level of that would be to get yourself attuned. So once you're open, then this is my belief. Once you're open to Reiki, you will end up with the right set of people or the right person who will be in a position to kind of give you that knowledge. In other words, attune you if you want to go that path, right? Attune you for Reiki. Now, if you just want to be the recipient of Reiki healing, that's a different path altogether. It's like going to a specialist and say, I have this pain, I have this problem. Can you heal me? But it's also important that you go to the right set of people. Yeah.
I want to touch on a point that you brought up that I think it's really interesting that you said. You said
Hmm.
everyone can be healed by a Reiki master, but it's not necessarily everyone themselves should or has the capacity to heal themselves. For someone
Yes.
who is listening and hears that, the first
Hmm.
gut reaction could be, what do you mean? Why can't I
Yeah.
heal myself? So
Yeah.
could you maybe touch on that a bit more? What about Reiki is, I guess you can say, has more depth to it than, oh, I'm feeling sad today, let me put on a happy song and now I'm happy?
Again, a wonderful question. Thanks for bringing it up, Danny. I think it's the same difference between popping a pill to heal yourself and becoming a doctor yourself. If you are a medical practitioner, you will have to go through a certain years of studies, and you need to get that qualification before you kind of start prescribing those pills for yourself or for somebody else. It's the same concept that goes out here. And being a medical practitioner is not for everybody either. I feel it's the same thing. I'm just trying to draw a parallel in my opinion, and I think I did mention that the last time we talked. Now Reiki chooses to flow through you in order to heal somebody. Now we are talking about the ability for a person to heal self and heal others, or just being a recipient of the healing. So if I want to be just the recipient of healing, I like I mentioned earlier, you just need to find a healer to heal you. But if you want to have the ability, you need to get attuned. And to get attuned, you need to learn, you need to go through the attunement process under it's a guided process under a Reiki master, open the blocks through you to become the channel. And that, I believe, is not for everybody. And how do we know it's there? It's a calling. And like, that's the other way of putting it. I said, Reiki chooses you. Like how I feel chosen. I got attuned once. I didn't know what to do about it. But then circumstances put me in a situation where I went through it again. And I feel it is Reiki who decided, as against me deciding it.
For someone who hears that, they hear you got attuned, but you didn't know what to do with it, and then you came
Yes.
back to it. What was that moment, that calling where you realized that it wasn't just something that you could get attuned to and you could take it or leave it, but it was a calling that was pulling you back into that kind of life?
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember, me being frustrated, saying, I know what this is. I know there is more to it. I don't know whom to ask. And, to kind of, give a better idea of why this happened, I was attuned to Reiki through a person I knew within the family, and who was a Reiki master, but he had since passed on. And then there was nobody else who could kind of give me the direction in Reiki. So I put that on the back burner instead of pursuing it for a few years. But again, like I said, circumstances around me were developed in such a way that I felt, this is a situation that I need to come out of. And to come out of it, I didn't know what to do. And at the back of my mind, that voice that was the one that said, Reiki, you are attuned to it, you need to practice it. And that's when I don't know how to practice it. And that's when I started looking out for people who Reiki masters who could attune it. And I was praying, and prayer is I'm a believer, I'm a strong believer, and I pray. So that again helped me decide, who to go to get myself attuned to the next set. There are multiple schools of Reiki as well. So this school that I got attuned to was a different school, but that didn't matter. Reiki is Reiki, is a universal energy. That's what happened. That was my calling. The frustration was one aspect of it. The thirst was another aspect of it. And then me praying and saying, I know there is an answer there. I just need to, access that answer or to go through the motions to understand it and use it for my own benefit. And when I got attuned for the second time, that's when I learned how exactly to use it for my own benefit. And then I went to the next level of, understanding how it can be used for the benefit of the others around me, whoever needs it.
So, for someone who maybe feels like they are blocked in some sort of capacity, but they can't
Mhm.
exactly put their finger on it, they just know that they
Yeah.
don't feel exactly right. There's just something that's just It just doesn't feel normal.
Hmm.
What advice could you give them if they either don't know of a Reiki master near them, or it's just going to take a bit of time before they can actually go in and have a proper session of
Hmm.
small steps that they can take every day to start
Hmm.
either addressing those blockages or working to actively combat those feelings that go along with it?
Meditation is a big part of healing yourself. That is a first step towards healing yourself. Breathing and breathing right is very, very important. Your posture of sitting when you breathe is very, very important. Those are the first things that you would do. You would not know if Reiki is the answer for you, but in order to kind of compose yourself from whatever situation you are in, you probably want to do that. And again, I believe if Reiki is the answer for you, Reiki will come to you in some form or shape. There's no other way to put it than saying, Reiki will come to you if it has to come to you.
So, in terms of meditation, that word is used a lot when it comes to mental health and mental wellness and just getting yourself more aligned, let's say. In terms of connecting that with the idea of the bodily chakras and energy and flow,
Mhm.
how do you believe mental health kind of fits in with aligning your chakras and connecting to the world?
Alternate healing is not just for mental health. Well, mental health is definitely a beneficiary of it. It is also at the physical level. And the chakras that you just talked about, I don't think anybody in this on this earth has perfect alignment of the chakras in their body. So the seven chakras that we have to be perfectly aligned. And when they are not aligned, that will cause some sort of imbalance in the body in some form or shape. It could be at a physical level or it could be at a mental level. That alignment of the chakras is important. Meditation is one of the very generic ways of trying to align that. And there is, obviously something called as chakra healing, and Reiki is definitely there. It's all about energy, right? It's all about energy, that the universal energy that has to flow through, that is flowing through all of us, but allowing it to flow it in a way that aligns the chakras with the universal energy. That is very important, and that is easier said than done. But a lot of practice. It's not like popping a pill where you do it once and you're done. It's regular, disciplined practice that one needs to do to make sure that your chakras are aligned. So that's what has to be done to help in healing the mental and the physical. Any physical dis-ease that we feel is a manifestation of anything that's in the mind. Usually it is either the belief systems, your upbringing, multiple things around you cause mental stress, which would perhaps manifest into some sort of a physical problem. I would like to kind of bring this for the sake of discussion. There is a book and I love it. It's called "You Can Heal Your Life" by Louis Hay. In this book, there is a lot of things in this book, but what I want to draw attention to is the dis-ease and the metaphysical reason behind it. When I say metaphysical reason, I'm talking about what could be the reason for the mental state, or the reason why you would have dis-ease at the physical level. So because of you get an idea of what is happening, and then of course the book talks about chanting affirmations and things like that, which are helpful, no doubt about it. But if you know the reason behind a certain problem and you are attuned to Reiki, or you know how to heal yourself using Reiki and chakra healing, or aligning the chakras using meditation, that really helps in healing yourself.
I can't help but think throughout listening to all of this that your job is not aligned with this. It doesn't there's nothing that goes with so like software and energy, and yet you find a way to have this beautiful connection between the two. And the last time we spoke, you said that you view your work as an extension of yourself, but you
Yes.
didn't say it in a way that it was causing you stress. Because a lot of people, when they say, oh, my work is an extension of me, they attach their identity to their job. They attach their identity to their performance and their productivity levels. And if I didn't reach a certain KPI, then I'm terrible. And there's just all this stress that goes into viewing your work as an extension of you. For
Mhm.
anyone that is in a field where they maybe think, oh, I don't need to think about energy, it doesn't apply to me. Like if they're in a deeply analytical study, like the maths or sciences or things like this, especially when it comes to tech, what advice would you have for people that maybe think that energy doesn't really apply to them, and how they can actually start incorporating it into their lives if they are finding that they are getting overwhelmed or they're increasingly getting anxious?
What needs to be understood very clearly is that we wouldn't be alive if there was no energy. So Reiki is life force energy. It's life force. That energy that you know is there, and that's one of the reasons why we are breathing, right? So if we are alive and we are breathing, we have that energy. We all have very stressful lives because of deadlines and pressures from performance and all those good things. And now more than ever before is the time for us to use all these techniques to calm us down, not just after we are done with our 9 to 5 job or whatever time that you work, but it becomes that more important to be calm and composed even during stressful times, even on the job, right? And to do that, some people are very inherently trained or inherently in a position to handle the pressure, but some of us are not. And that's when we have to go that extra mile to practice meditation, practice Reiki, to kind of use these techniques to have a favorable outcome of everything that you do. When I say favorable, it could be favorable for yourself, or it could be favorable for your entire team. It could be any of that. For example, when I get into a meeting and I know I expect the meeting to be kind of very difficult one, whether it is with my client or with my own team, I use the technique of Reiki to soothe, to calm everything around, to take the edge off all the tension out there. And it has worked every single time. So now, obviously, I would not want to get into how to do it, but these are techniques that I use, to make sure that the final outcome is a favorable one for everybody involved. I want to touch upon that aspect where you said, extension of myself. Yes, it is an extension of myself for a simple reason that if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm stressed out, whatever I do, it is the same thing. And I go back to cooking because every single piece of work that we do is an art in some form or shape. That's my belief. And have we ever seen a beautiful piece of art created when somebody is stressed out or angry or upset? Absolutely not. The same thing happens whether it's a painting, whether it's cooking, even simple making tea can be spoiled, or the outcome would not be good if you're not in a good mood, or if you're not in a mood to actually make that happen. The same thing goes to software development. So it is an extension of me in a way that it's the energy that I have put in, the energy that is flowing through me at that point in time when I actually created it. I'm not too sure if I can simplify that further, but this
No, I
is
mean
my
it does a good job of answering the question. And something that I was thinking about that I wanted to touch on, it goes a little off track, but you're talking about how your work is an extension of you. And
Mhm,
my mind keeps going back to when you said that there were different levels of
mhm,
Reiki. So
mhm,
to get to this level where you're at right now of viewing your work in this good sense and having all of these positive emotions associated with
mhm,
how you're actually performing, and not viewing it
mhm,
as a stressor but being in a good mood, making sure that you're regulated, making sure that everything is balanced in that sense. What are the
mhm.
different levels of Reiki? Like how does one go from point A to point B, whether they are actually trying to become a master at healing others or just in their own journey into healing?
Different schools of Reiki have different levels, or they would have divided that into different levels. The first level obviously is to get attuned to heal yourself. The second level would be where you can heal others. The third level would be where you could attune others. So that's the ultimate level where you have learned and you've done the or attuned in a way that you can attune somebody else. Attuning somebody else is like being the teacher to teach others to teach. So that those are the three different levels I can think of, and you definitely have to start with the very first level of getting attuned to Reiki. That's the first step. And between the first and the step where I am, it will take a few years to be effective It will take a few years to practice it. The more you practice it, the more you can, you are more open, you're more perspective, you open to the universal energy, you start getting messages about how you could use it. You literally have conversations with the universe. That's my experience. And there are situations where I've seen, even in public places, some people looking at me, they just feel like opening up, strangers, and they tell me their problems. What I'm trying to say is that when you are in line with universe, people who are seeking help will know where, or will be in a position to open up and talk to you, so that that energy flows through you. So to have to reach that level, it takes a few years of practice. I wouldn't say just getting attuned is sufficient. Breathing, you got to breathe every day, every second, to be alive. And Reiki for me is like breathing.
When you said that it takes a little bit in order for you to get effective with it, what does that mean in terms of in practice? Have there been people that have come to you for help, and when you say effective, you were able to or you weren't able to help them?
It depends on how open the person is to, how receptive the person is to energy healing. Even the best of Reiki masters perhaps would struggle to make sure a person is healed through Reiki. But here's the thing, Reiki has a way of working where it makes sure that you get all the resources to heal yourself as well, if that's the intent you have put. So it's how you put your intention around how you want to heal. Now, for example, somebody can come up to me and say, I need to see the right doctor because this is not getting healed. So that's the intention, meet the right doctor. And they may not have found the right doctor. So that's the intention. That's how Reiki will work. Reiki is not a magic pill. It's not a wand, or it's not something that is applied on the body and it heals. No, it's not that. The intent that you put is what will get served. So the effectiveness obviously depends on how or what kind of intention you put.
So we are almost out of time for the day, but
Mm.
if we could end, I'm interested to know what has been either your experience with helping someone heal or your
Mhm.
experience when it came to you personally getting healed by
Mhm.
Reiki that shifted your
Mhm.
perspective and
Mhm.
just universal truths that we need to start tapping into in terms of day-to-day life. Because a lot of the people that we talk to on this podcast, they are health and wellness practitioners to some degree, that they are meeting with people on a daily basis, and they're noticing patterns of what causes stress, what causes self-doubt, what causes imposter syndrome, what causes overwhelm, and they're noticing these patterns in human behavior that are leading to these kinds of negative and depleting emotions. What
Mhm.
has been something, at least in your experience, that have showed you, okay, this is definitely a pattern that we need to be more aware of?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and for some reason that hasn't been the way that I have operated. The way I have used Reiki for my own self is on a day-to-day basis. When I wake up, when I start my work, there are certain times through the day that I kind of use Reiki. And that's how it's supposed to be. I don't need to be ill to use Reiki. It's more of a proactive way of solving problem that you feel that is going to happen or that you already have, right? So have I seen patterns? Have seen, definitely I've seen patterns where Reiki has been very, very helpful. For example, healing a situation. When I say healing a situation, what I mean by that is, like I was trying to give an example of, reaching the airport on time or reaching a meeting on time. You're stuck in traffic. So it's not about having a pain in the body. There are external forces or external reasons why you're not able to reach the meeting on time, but that can be healed. And that's how Reiki works. That's where you can use Reiki. Certain impossible situations that I had thought impossible was made possible through Reiki, in my own experience. And how it has helped others, there have been situations where people just come and tell their problems to me, not even knowing who I am, what my name is, absolute strangers. That has happened to me in a train that I have been traveling, on a flight, at the airport, things like that. So I don't know if I can find a pattern there, but I definitely have seen patterns in how things have been healed, in what situations things have been healed, and what kind of pain relief has happened because of it. To be aware of your own body, your own emotions, and the need or the thirst to kind of fix your situation. I think that's where I was when I started looking for Reiki.
I like that. A need or a want to fix your situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on and for chatting today. It has been absolutely wonderful having you. It's been really
Thank
enlightening
you.
to hear about the process.
Thank you, Danny. I hope this has helped people or is going to help people who hear this. Obviously, if there's a need for anybody to reach out to me, you can do that as well. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share
Yeah,
my journey on a platform like yours.
of course. And for anyone who is looking for help, where is it best to reach you?
The best way to reach me is email. Not sure if I can spread out my email in the chat now, but they can
Put
reach
it
me
in the
through email.
description below. Awesome.
Sure.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. It's been great having you on.
My pleasure.
And that wraps up today's episode of Vibrant Living Diaries. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. A huge thank you to our guest for sharing your expertise and to the International Wellness Alliance for making this all possible. Remember, the insights and stories we've shared today are steps towards embracing a life of holistic fulfillment, and we hope that you've been inspired to take the next step forward in your own wellness journey. As always, we're eager to hear your thoughts and experiences. Connect with us on our social media platforms and share how you're integrating the knowledge gained here into your daily life. I'm Danielle Grobman and can't wait to continue this journey with you in our next episode. Until then, keep exploring, stay curious, and embrace the vibrant life you deserve. Speak soon.